What's up, Sovereigns? So in this video, I'm going to talk about this week in astrology for the week of April 20th to the 26th. Now that we're in Taurus season, we can start to feel, more grounding and centering in our life. It's going to be, it's going to feel like relief as we're coming out of Aries season. Especially we had, Mars in Cancer and going through the retrograde and everything else. There was a lot of, tension going on with that. So, this is gonna start to give us some more of that grounding, centering energy in our life. There is still going to be some fiery energy kind of lingering around because Venus, who actually rules Taurus, will be going into Aries. She's kind of retracing her steps as she's gone through that retrograde season. So we're still kind of in that Venus retrograde shadow phase. However, as we move closer to the new moon on the 27th, we're going to start to feel, more of that relief, more of that grounding, centering energy as well. Today, Sun is actually squaring Mars at Leo, so there's still some fiery, high energy that we're feeling right now, but it's not really. It feels more like motivation to me instead of tension that we've been experiencing with Mars and Cancer. So it's even though it's kind of iffy, it feels a lot better than, like I said, Mars and Cancer. Now Venus will conjunct Saturn in Pisces on the 24th. But this is coming off to me as more like healing energy. I'm not really feeling like the restrictions and limitations that are typically associated, with Saturn. That may be due to Saturn getting closer to the Aries, where Saturn's going to be in its fall. So maybe that's why it's not feeling as tough to me. Or maybe Venus is because Venus is kind of swinging back and conjunct with Saturn again. Maybe it's not as tough this time. So it's gonna be a good day to kind of relax, practice those self-love, self-care practices and meditation for sure on the 24th. Now, when we get to the 26th, there is going to be some tension with Mars and Leo in opposition to Pluto. This comes off to me as more like power struggles. So, whether if it's in the workplace, which I think it's mainly going to be in the workplace and our outer environments instead of, in the home space, really depending on where it's at, where Mars is at in your, Mars and Pluto, where that's at in your natal chart. But I think it's going to have more to do with our community. I think that tension is going to be around the community instead of in the home. So, it's going to be really important to practice your meditations, even more. Put a bigger emphasis on your meditation practices that day. You should already be meditating. But that day, on the 26th, you should put more of a bigger emphasis on that. Be sure to take time out, check in with yourself. One thing that I like to do, I like to take breaks, check in with myself. I just ask, where am I at right now and what am I thinking about? And does that align? Does what I'm thinking about align to where I'm at in my environment at that very moment? And then I like to tune in with my heart and really identify how I'm feeling at that moment. So, when there's some really intense situations, it's important to check in and I really identify how you feel. Not, a lot of the times we know that we're feeling emotional, we're feeling a certain way, but we're not always able to identify it. So when you can actually identify, how you're feeling, it kind of brings that to your awareness. So, those are some things that I like to do that helps me. So, during this opposition, with Mars opposition to Pluto, we're really going to want to be bold and courageous about what we value. But something in our community and something regarding our higher ideals is going to be at odds, that day. So, like I said, practice those grounding, and meditations that'll be helpful. So hopefully this helps you, guide you through the week and be aligned with the universe. Drop your rising sign in the comment section, and I'll give you some more insight on what to expect this week.